Curse you, King Charles. Hi, I'm Cody, and just like Al Gore in his basement building the internet, this is the Discriminating Gamer. Today I'm taking a look at Cruel Necessity. It's a solitaire board game, and that's why I'm all alone. Well, it's not the only reason why I'm all alone.
But you're not entirely alone, are you, Cody?
Who are you?
Don't you recognize me? I'm you, only evil.
What are you, evil because you have a beard?
No, I'm evil because I kill people. What is this distraction you have before you?
This is Cruel Necessity. It's a solitaire board game from Victory Point Games. It's all about the English civil wars of the 17th century.
The English don't fight wars, they drink tea and do other effeminate things.
What are you talking about? England has participated in some of the most important wars of world history.
Skeptical, skeptical, skeptical.
Why do you keep saying skeptical?
It's like buffering, only with skepticism. Tell me more about these wars.
Well, like I said, Cruel Necessity is about the English civil wars of the 17th century.
A civil war, yes. I take it the south of England wanted to secede and the north of England wanted to end slavery.
No. This is a completely different war.
Well, you said civil war. I just assumed.
The English civil wars of the 17th century were rooted in the religious problems of the day. Parliament was controlled by Puritans and led by Oliver Cromwell. So this religious struggle was at the heart of these wars. But there were also questions like taxes, land ownership.
Cut the history lesson. Tell me about the game.
In Cruel Necessity, the player takes on the role of the forces of Puritanism in Parliament as they battle the forces arrayed to help King Charles. Now, this is a States of Siege game, a series of card-driven solitaire games from Victory Point Games. It's a series which includes other titles like Dawn of the Zeds and Zulus on the Rampart. The game board is a map of England, which represents London, the home of Parliament, but it also represents 4 tracts with armies leading to it. Now, these tracts are Ireland, Scotland, the North, and the West. Each of these tracks has 5 spaces on it. And they're leading toward London in the case of the West and the North, or toward some negative result for the player in the case of Scotland and Ireland.
Armies marching. I like it. Tell me more.
As I said, the game is card-driven. Every turn you are going to draw a card from the event deck. The event cards really drive the game in Cruel Necessity, as most of them will give you a ton of information. They will tell you which armies to activate here, as well as what political and religious effects come into play here. When an army is activated, essentially it moves forward along this track to the next space. Now, if it's in a space with a fortress, it gets 2 chances to besiege that fortress. It rolls a die, and essentially what happens is it can actually lower its strength value. If that strength value is lowered all the way to 0, then that fortress becomes theirs.
The swine.
Additionally, the card may tell you to move chits on the political track.
But wait, what are these tracks you speak of? Are they contagious?
No. These tracks represent how powerful you and your enemies are during the game. For instance, a card might tell you to move monarchy down, making it more powerful, or moving Parliament up, making you more powerful. The same might happen for the Catholicism or Puritanism, or to gauge your control over Ireland or Scotland. Now, where these markers are located during the game can be very important.
But wait, I see that this card has a red cannon by the enemy armies. Speak truthfully, Cody, or feel my wrath. What does the red cannon mean?
I'm glad you asked that. A red cannon means you have to fight your enemies on the tactical battle board.
Ooh, I love tactical battles.
A number of your pieces, infantry and cavalry, as well as your enemy's pieces, are placed face down and randomized in these areas here. Then you put 2 of your cavalry units here and 2 of the enemies here. Then 4 infantry for each side of the battle. Then you're going to flip these units over. Now, some of these units, like that 2 there and that 2 there, will indicate you need to draw battle cards. In this case, you'd have to draw 2 battle cards. These battle cards can have positive or negative effects for both sides, and once you've resolved those, you go ahead and roll the battle in the order that is indicated. If one of your sides wins a battle by 2 or more, you can move that unit to the victory box. If you ever lose by 2 or more, you can move that unit to the defeat box. But for everything else, you're going to want to move those units into the draw box. Whichever box has the most units determines whether or not you win, lose, or draw the battle.
Ah yes, win, lose, or draw. Like the old Burt Reynolds, Burt Convy TV game show.
Now, if you win the battle, you're going to get certain advantages. If you draw or lose the battle, there's going to be some negative consequences. Now we arrive at the action phase, and that's where the Zeal track comes into play.
They have a track for seals? Are they trained seals? Can they balance the ball on their nose? That is adorable. My niece would love that.
The Zeal track represents your side's willingness and commitment to fight for your cause. Now, each Zeal point you have allows you to take one action. For instance, you can spend Zeal to give one of your military units a positive modifier in battle. You can launch a campaign against an enemy army. You can besiege an enemy fortress or strengthen one of your own. You can engage in politics and attempt to move your markers up and down the political tracks. Or you can declare desperate times, voluntarily lowering your markers in order to gain more Zeal points.
Now you wait just 1 North Korean minute, Cody. You told me that the position of those political tracks mattered. Why do they matter, Cody?
I was just about to tell you about that.
Oh, I apologize. I was out of line.
Sometimes when you draw an event card, you'll actually draw one of these, an achievement card.
Ooh.
Achievement cards come with various rewards attached to them. But there's also a Zeal point cost, in this case 2 points. But it's not that easy. There are also political conditions attached. Your political markers must be in these locations in order to claim this card.
I see, but what are the blue triangles on the cards for?
I'm glad you asked that. As you can see, those triangles aren't just on the achievement cards, they're scattered throughout the game board.
Well, yes, now that you mention it, I can see blue and red triangles everywhere. Why, there's triangles near the fortresses and on the political track. Why, the board is just a plethora of blue and red triangles.
Exactly. These triangles represent victory points. Blue are positive victory points and red are negative victory points. You can see if you are winning or losing at any time of the game by seeing how many victory points you hold on the board or achievement cards you've purchased.
But wait, Cody, how do you win or lose the game?
You lose the game instantly if an invading army makes it to London and successfully besieges it down to 0, turning it into their own. You can also lose instantly if ever 4 or more of your political markers reach the F on their respective tracks. If this happens, King Charles wins the game.
I just hate him so much.
After you've played the last card from the event deck, you total up the number of triangles you have, and then you go ahead and consult the rule book, which will tell you how crushing or great your defeat or victory was.
Outstanding, Cody, outstanding. But tell me, what do you really think of this game the humans call Cruel Necessity?
First of all, I think the theme is just fantastic and integrates really well with the mechanics of the game. You're constantly trying to keep those enemy armies back and from overrunning you, and that becomes harder and harder to do with your limited resources. This is a game about trying to put your fingers in the dam to keep it from bursting and carrying you away. It really is engaging.
But there is one critical question, Cody. Is the game fun?
Well, that's the real question, isn't it? And the answer is yes and no. If you like solitaire games, you'll love Cruel Necessity. It is engaging, it's clever, it's quick. You feel that elation when you push an enemy army back, and you feel that sting of defeat when one of your fortresses falls to the enemy.
But...
well, it's a solitaire game. You'll recall back in episode 1 of The Discriminating Gamer, Sean and I talked about how the most important thing to us about gaming is the people, playing with people, spending time with people. And in this game, it's just you and the cardboard. And that's great, such as it is, but you know, when you do push back that enemy army, you don't really get to laugh about it with your friends. When your fortress falls, you don't have that shared collective ooh, or maybe one side rejoicing while the other side is in the depths of agony. That's missing. So this is a great solitaire game, don't get me wrong. It's well designed, I really like it, but at the end of the day, it's a solitaire game.
Hey Cody, I want to sing a song about it.
No, Sean, I'm doing this review solo.
Ah, come on, Cody. Just let me sing a song about the game.
I'd like to hear a song about it.
Quiet, you.
All right, I'm going to sing a song about it. Here it goes. Cromwell said to King, man, it's a funny thing. We don't like how you've led, so we gotta take your head. I've always been a gentleman, you see, but what must be, must be. It's a cruel necessity. The king said in reply, man, I don't wanna die. Cromwell shrugged and said, well, I'd rather you were dead. I've always been a gentleman, you see, but what must be, must be. It's a cruel necessity. Oh, we are all supermen sitting in Parliament chanting for King Charles' head. If it were up to me, you'd still be dead, you see. From you we long to be free. It's a cruel necessity.
That was splendid.
So I guess my recommendation for Cruel Necessity is, if you like solitaire games, buy it. If you haven't played a solitaire game before, this is a great one to start with, but you might want to try it before you buy it.
Could we see more of Sean?
You know, you're really starting to get on my nerves.
Hey, Cody, who are you talking to?
What do you mean? I was just talking to...
If you like our review, check us out on YouTube and leave a comment. You can also check us out on Facebook. Please subscribe.
Somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I've been dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
The English don't drink. They do drink.